Hi everyone, and welcome to the Aquarius April 2022 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. Or more simply put, to help you better find where you fit. So hi everyone, welcome to this reading. If you're new, this reading is meant to help you find the meaning in the challenge or challenges you are currently experiencing for the month of April. And this is so that you can better answer that why. Why am I being asked to face this challenge and overcome it? What is it going to unlock about my path, my purpose, and some aspect of my unique self that needs to be made aware of? So I'm going to start here by pulling a card to take a look at your internal energy. So what are you as an individual bringing into the month of March, April? And then we'll pull some cards to take a look at what's going on in your external environment. And then we'll look at the why. Why is Spirit asking you to connect with what you're going through with your external environment? What are you meant to learn out of this experience? Okay. Oh, interesting. All right. So we're going to start here by going through what just came out, and then I'll pull additional cards to take a look at blocks and to get advice from Spirit. So we have the Eight of Swords as your internal energy. Now, the Eight of Swords is when we are feeling trapped. It is it's interesting. This is really a card that denotes being trapped internally in your mental space. So it's an appropriate energy for you to be experiencing in an internal way. But this is when we are kind of meandering blindly through the negative what ifs, where we don't think we can see a way out or around a challenge. And we are instead bumping up against all of the kind of naysayers or the negative thoughts in our own mind. This is where we will sit there and say, I really want to leave this job, but what if I can't make as much money as I'm making now someplace else? What if I can't find another job? I don't even have the time right now to search for one. What if I can't pay my rent? What if I am not as, and you can go down the rabbit hole of all the things that we tell ourselves why we can't do something. Now, sometimes this can actually get to that point where those things become excuses, where we've kind of been walking so long among them that we hold them as truth, and we kind of get stuck there, where we are like, well, we can't go here because I can't do that. This is when we kind of get to that place of, well, this is just the way it is, and things will never change. And if you notice in this picture, the woman here is blindfolded. She's also bound, but her feet are free. And there's nothing stopping her from walking forward except herself and her own perception that she is surrounded by swords that are impenetrable. So there's something here to kind of, I think, as you're moving into April, in an area where you feel stuck or where you feel like there's kind of no way around, this is going to be the baby steps, the baby step method, where it's kind of looking at each and every one of these thoughts that have now become true to you as to reasons why you can't do something. Because in your external environment, we have the Five of Wands, which can be a card that speaks to kind of getting back out there and getting back into the fray. This is where we get to take our passion or take action from a place of passion and kind of jump back in there and see where we fit. This can also denote a little bit of chaos. I always like to think of the saying as too many cooks in the kitchen, where there's a little too many people trying to put their wand into the mix. But this card is the number 5, and the number 5 is a number of change. It's a number of, it's kind of that middle point between 1 and 10, where everything is now at a point where it can move forward, but it's still kind of neither here. It's not on the beginning end of things. It's not on the end of things. It's kind of right in the middle. So it can feel a little chaotic and a little jumbled. But why you're being asked to really take a look at where you are limiting yourself through negative or limiting thoughts is because there is an opportunity right now for you to get out into the mix, to get out and start to, I think, test some aspect of yourself that is around a passion or a passion project, or just taking action again from a place that you can emotionally connect to the feeling of passion. And there's an opportunity for you to get out there and kind of start to dust this part of yourself off. And why are you being asked to kind of jump into the fray out here? It's to come out of a place, it's basically to discover your own internal, unique self, the magical part of ourselves that when we go into a place that the hermit is really, it speaks to kind of going into that solitary place where we have to go within and we have to find within us our star. We have to find within us the guiding principle that lies with, that we kind of feel lies external to us, that great dream, hope, desire for ourselves, some aspect of ourselves that we would love to express or experience. But we have to go and find that within. We can't go out there and you know, the opposite of the hermit would be somebody who is constantly trying to find purpose or a sense of fulfillment external to themselves, meaning that you keep hopping from job to job to job, thinking that the next job will maybe be the one that fulfills you. Or you keep hopping from partner to partner to partner, thinking that the next partner will be the one that fulfills you, instead of realizing that fulfillment comes from within first. We have to know our own magic and our own dream and be secure in that, so that we then can bring that out into our lantern and hold and basically see our path forward, see our path to fulfillment, but through ourselves, through our own lens, our own perception. This can also be where we get to that point where the grass is always greener, where we're always looking for, you know, when this happens, when I retire, when this changes, when I have this much money, that kind of thing. And what Spirit's asking you to realize here is that it's time to get back out there, because in doing so, it's going to allow you to tap back into your own magic and realize that by getting back out there and kind of jumping into the chaos, you're going to realize it's not about it's not about waiting for somebody to free you or circumstances external to you to change. It's about you deciding what you want for yourself and understanding you get to make that possible with how you shine that light for you to see everything in your experience. I hope that makes sense, Aquarius. I know it sounds a little kind of vague and out there, but I think when we take a look here at the blocks, this is going to come out very clearly. So I'm going to pull cards now where we're going to take a look at really what is preventing you from releasing yourself from the self-imposed kind of mental imprisonment. Oh, I love it. The Wheel of Fortune. Right out the gate for you guys. When we have, oh my goodness, wow. Okay, and the Tower. I'm just going to say this, Aquarius. This is some heavy hitting energy. Now, I don't want to say it with, you know, dun dun dun. This is liberation. This is true liberation. The Tower is, there's nothing more freeing than the Tower card in the tarot. And I think people tend to get really scared. Those who know and understand the tarot can get scared when this card comes out, because it means that you've waited too long to free yourself. And so Spirit is coming in to free you, whether you want to be freed or not. And this can look like you are so upset, you know, let's say you are just so sick and tired of going to a job. So sick and tired of going to a job, and you it's now gotten to the point where you just, you can't stand it, or it's hindered you from growth for so long. Like you've been afraid to go out and seek a new job, or you've been afraid to go out and kind of level up, or realize something, a negative aspect to this job, but you've just clung to it because it's safe. It pays the bills, and again, all those what ifs come into play. But you're now stagnant, and you're now at a place where nothing is changing and you're no longer growing, and you've stopped on your path to achieving your highest potential. And so Spirit comes in and says, okay, we've given you every opportunity to free yourself and to continue on your path and to reconnect with that beautiful sense of joy and beauty again. But now we have to come in and we have to free you, because the whole thing is, we're not meant to live a life that feels bound. We are all truly intrinsically free. That's the one thing in America that, our founding fathers who wrote our Constitution, that was the one point that they could all agree on, even though they're all very different individuals with very different perspectives on life. That was the one thing that really united them specifically, and that was their belief that each one of us as an individual is free on a very deep and profound level, meaning that no one can do this to you except you. No one can control your thoughts except you. So let me go through this a little bit here. Aquarius, I feel like this reading is so large, I'm having a very difficult time expressing it. This is a giant growth period for you specifically. I think for anyone who has a strong Aquarius placements in their chart, I think you guys are going through a deep spiritual transformation, and it is going to be reflected externally. And that may seem a little chaotic, but don't worry, because you literally have every major arcana card out here. So let me walk you through this. So your first challenge is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is a beautiful energy. It's an energy that denotes movement and change and when opportunity comes knocking. But when it becomes a challenge or a block, this is when we want to not go with the flow. We want to dig in our heels and say, no, we can't do it. We can't do it. This is like where you've been maybe at work in a place where you've been disgruntled for a long time, and you're watching all the different people that you've worked with there for years, and each one of them individually is finding a new job and leaving, and finding a new job and leaving, and finding a new job and leaving, and it's time. It's time for you to leave as well, but you dig in your heels and say, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. And instead you kind of look enviously at, the other people. Or you just simply choose to ignore it and say, well, that's on them. I need this. This keeps me in a secure place. And what happens then when we dig in our heels, when things start to turn, when the wheels of destiny start to turn for us and we choose by free will not to connect with them, what happens is Spirit comes in. And this is when the Tower happens. And the Tower can be dramatic, or it can just truly be liberating. Tower energy is sometimes when literally we just wake up and have that kind of come to Jesus moment, so to speak, where it's like everything you were holding tight to that felt like it gave you security, all of a sudden you wake up one morning and realize, I can't spend another day going to that job, and I don't even know why I spent all this time going there. I don't even know why I did that. I don't want to work like that anymore. It's almost like, because you do have judgment coming in here, but where the Tower is different is that the Tower, you may feel that way, but something's going to happen in your external environment to instigate that. The Tower is more of an external force. This is when we decided not to walk away from that job, and then all of a sudden we get our pink slip. They bring us in and they let us go. Or the company comes and tells you that they are being acquired and everybody's being laid off. And when you had your chance, you could have taken it, but now you're in a place where you're forced under kind of more extreme circumstances to find a new job and free yourself from a place that you didn't feel authentic in. This can happen when, maybe you should have left a relationship a long time ago, and suddenly that person comes in and says, I want a divorce. And you're like, what? Wait, I want the divorce, all of a sudden it happens for you. And maybe it's great. Maybe it's one of those things where you're like, oh, thank goodness. Wow. Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's make it happen. It might not be as like dramatic. It could actually be where the thing that you're hoping to happen happens. Where that partner does break up with you, or that company does let you go, or your YouTube channel gets shut down for one last time because you're speaking on a topic that no one wants, or that they don't want you to speak on. And suddenly it's like, oh my God, I have to make that change. It's one of those things where it comes in and we are able to feel the liberation. Now, justice coming in at the heart of your reading is what Spirit would like is asking you to embrace, to be able to get you through this challenge and really to get to a place of remembering your own magic, remembering your star, remembering who you are, remembering what you want for your life again. And justice is the true balance. It's the universal principle in our existence that for everything, again, that for what may feel like something is crumbling down and our lives are changing suddenly just like that, what Spirit's asking you to really embrace and understand is that this is all to bring balance. This is all to right something that has been way out of whack for a long time, if you think about it. This is to liberate you from a bad relationship so that you can now be in a good one, to liberate you from a exhausting and uncreative work environment so that you can find one that does fulfill you on those levels. This is where it's basically reminding you to trust and have faith in the cosmic order of things, and to understand that what is being lost, you will regain. But regain in a way that is meant for your growth and for the spiritual health of your personal experience. Because then on the other side of this, we have judgment. And judgment is truly hearing the call. There's something to be said about, if for those of you who are familiar with passages from the Bible, and unfortunately I have read the Bible, but I cannot quote it. But there is that sense coming through of being called up by your name, by God, and hearing yourself kind of becoming brand new through that. And I don't know why I have to say it like that. Sorry, Aquarius, this reading is so intense right now, but beautiful at the same time. I really feel this positivity, this true just freedom coming in on a certain level. But with judgment, that really is that feeling that comes through, is that you kind of almost hear the call of God or the universe, the divine. You hear beyond you. And suddenly, it's not even that everything has changed, it's that you know yourself. Suddenly in this touch, this call from the divine, you know your own importance. That's how you experience this, the Hermit, the discovery. And it's almost like for those of you who maybe are very self-aware and you do understand, what you want for your life, and you do understand your own magic and what you bring to every situation. It's almost like that's heightened now, that you can almost see more by your own light, that all of a sudden you see you, but in this much grander, you see the bigger picture of yourself. And I don't know how else to explain it, but that's really what I'm feeling coming through. And as your final challenge here to get kind of out into the fray again, is we have the Princess of Pentacles, which is the Page of Pentacles. A beautiful energy. It's challenging because it puts us back into that that place of being the student again, of having to go out with this kind of beginner's mind mentality of, what do I do with this gift? You know, the page has the pentacle, has the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles is a tangible gift from the divine, a fresh start. But the page has to kind of go out there and play with that gift to see what it's meant to do, to see what it can create. And so there is this feeling of like having to go out there and kind of learn things again, to jump back into the world as the student instead of as the teacher. And that can be difficult when maybe perhaps you've been so long in a job that you really were very knowledgeable and seen as more of the teacher or the mentor. And now you're being asked to jump out into life after maybe being let go from a job or having to, be pushed out for some reason. Now you have to go back out as the kind of apprentice. But what's beautiful about that is that you're actually coming out with a much clearer version of yourself that is going to end up going out into the world and I think being very productive out here. It's almost like, so at a very high level, because this is such an important message and it's coming through so strongly and in such a bigger way than any of the other readings I've read for this month. There is this feeling of needing to go out into the chaos that is our current world experience with shining your lantern, but doing so from a place of kind of innocence, of understanding that what you're bringing right now out into the world and what you're freeing yourself from is going to allow you to bring light into a very chaotic time period. And you're being asked to kind of almost like hang on tight. This ride's going to get a little bumpy, but don't worry, because it's all going to be righted in your favor. But you have to trust. And that's really what the Page of Pentacles is about. There's this feeling of trust, of going back out there with this kind of fresh, optimistic spirit of a child with the gift of yourself and knowing that it is of value and great importance. Wow, Aquarius, geez Louise, this is a big reading. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull 3 additional cards here. One for the concept of curiosity, one for courage, and one for contemplation. And this is where Spirit would like you to be open and curious too for the month of April, where Spirit would like you to be courageous in taking action, and where Spirit would like you to reflect and contemplate on for the month. So when we're thinking about curiosity, this is where we get to be open to something we otherwise might have been closed to. So these 3 cards are meant to bring what is a very general reading, and with this one specifically, a very high level reading, down into a far more kind of digestible and individualized message for you, because you're the one who's going to be asking yourself these questions and keeping these things in mind, so that Spirit has a direct kind of gateway or channel to you to be able to give you the insight and information that you specifically need around overcoming this challenge. I'm really hearing for you, Aquarius, release. Release, release, release. I'm getting the image of a balloon like being let go. And there's this feeling of almost like that kind of scary feeling of, but if I let go, I'm the balloon and I'm gonna just fly away into the ether. And I think what you don't realize is it's not that you're going to fly away into the ether and be lost. It's that you're going to go out and beyond to a realm that needs to be discovered and brought back down to earth. It's almost like being the balloon and you're going up and up and up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going out of the earth. And all of a sudden you go out into space and an alien like sticks its hand out the window of its spaceship and drags you in. and suddenly you're in a whole new world, learning something totally new, and then those aliens plop you back down onto Earth, and it's time for you to come back with that perspective. There's something that kind of about that. And again, I know it's such a strange, this is actually a very interesting and fun reading to do, but I know it's a little out there. So the card of Deceit came up, number 25, breaking down to a 7. This card always reminds me of the 7 of Swords in the tarot. So when we're thinking about being curious, for me personally, this is a card of self-deceit. And the question I would ask yourself right now to help maybe avoid the Tower moment and just kind of move right into the justice and judgment side of this is, where are you deceiving yourself that you can't make a change, that you are stuck, and that things just are the way they are? And really dive into the thoughts that go through your head on a day-to-day basis around some aspect of your life that you wish would change or that you feel limited by. And then go through each one of the thoughts around the excuses and the reasons you have solidified as the tower around yourself as to why you can't change, as to why you can't leave this relationship, leave this job, leave the location where you're living, leave living with your parents, leave, like, you name it, whatever it is. Really come down to that place and look at each one of those reasons and see where that true self-deceit lies for you. All right, because that's actually going to be where the key to your freedom is going to come through. All right. So now we're going to take a look at where Spirit would like us to be courageous and taking action. And I'm assuming this is taking action around really freeing yourself. You know, this can also be too, I'm just going to throw this out there, Aquarius, this can be like where we're overthinking something, where we have kind of thought ourselves, almost backed ourselves into a corner through our thoughts, where we feel like we've thought about this in every angle, in every way, in every shape, and we realize we just need to let go and just do it. Just let the wheel turn, spin it, and go with it, and go with the call you're hearing, and go as a willing, happy, and curious, optimistic child. All right, we have surrender to receiving support and love. This card has come out so many times this month. I think everybody needs a big hug. It says, allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. And really what I'm getting here more than anything, which is interesting, it's not only that, you know, to really allow love and support to come in, but what I'm feeling more than anything is that it's more about realizing you don't have to do everything. Meaning you don't have to, as a single individual, take on all of the worries of the world or do something so incredibly grand and great that if you don't, if it's almost like you want to leave a small job thinking that you have to jump into like something that's going to save the world. And that is not each one of our places. Each one of us is meant to work together to do that. But this is more about really surrendering to that place where you get to receive the support and love for what you need as an individual so that you can just go out and be who you are. Now, I do feel like this is on a much grander level, that there is, for some of you, yes, there's a massive importance that something within you is needed right now to go out there, and you need to share and you need to do. But it doesn't have to have a grand importance to it. You don't have to take it to this point where it is so serious. It's more about, again, stepping into and embracing this optimistic sense of going out there as the student. You'll learn as you go. Have faith and know that it will be of great service to others. It will be a light in a dark time, but it doesn't have to be so serious. It can be fun. It can be that thing you've always wanted to do. It can also be just the opposite. It can be giving into living a lifestyle of doing nothing. It can be giving into retirement and just a lifestyle of leisure if you're at that point. But either way, whatever you're being asked to really step into, you have to engage yourself authentically, and you have to be willing to move with the energy that's happening right now for you. And if things do get tough, and I'm looking at this too, it's a surrender to receiving support and love. If you do need the help of a counselor or therapist, or to lean on a friend as you're going through this, to just maybe bounce off some of these reasons and swords, and to see if somebody else might have a better way forward or a way around where you feeling trapped, that's a great way to receive support and love by another. We don't have to do everything alone. That's a big lesson that we all learn at some point in our journey and life experience. All right, so now we're going to pull a final card here for the concept of contemplation. So where Spirit would like you to reflect on, keep in mind throughout, oh, whoa, that's way too many. Let's see if we can get just a few there. Where Spirit would like you to reflect on for the month to basically be kind of like the underlying theme to this bigger reading here. What does Aquarius need to keep in mind as they move? Oh, lovely. Okay, well, this is perfect. So we have take a break, a life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. And then we have pillar of light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. This is beautiful. This is almost kind of exactly what I was feeling here, that there's this sense of like feeling like you have to go out and do this bigger thing, that if you make this change, you can only make the change if it lends to something of great importance, or that it's going to lead to so much more work. And you're being told that no, you can just hear the call, make the change, trust in the divine to go out and kind of shine your light in the darkness, and understand that you are the oracle. You are bringing forward what Aquariuses do best, which is connecting to Spirit, the divine, what is beyond, and bringing down the new into our experience. That's really your superpower, and part of your spiritual importance, Aquarius, is for you to do that. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to bring down an idea that's going to revolutionize the entire face of humanity, but it can mean that you bring down a perspective or a gift that can illuminate just your small community, or 4 individuals within your household that are going to go out and continue to seed that light someplace else. There's something here about understanding that what you are meant to channel and bring down is very important. But it doesn't mean that you have to push yourself to an extreme limit, or that it can't be fun and light, and that you can't just get into more of the student mentality. I'm getting the feeling that you almost like feel like you have to be seen as the master, when in reality you're being asked to be the student. You're being asked to be an example, almost like a divine example for innocent channeling and connection to your divine individuality. And that came through as it is. I don't know even how to explain that. Only you, Aquarius, might be able to go up above and somehow rearrange those words and find meaning in it. But I do feel that this is a really important time for you. Things are changing, but they're changing in a good way that is going to free you, and is going to allow you to step in and answer the call and to shine your light, but you have to make that choice to go out as the optimistic child. Don't take yourself so seriously, and don't deceive yourself that you're trapped, that you're stuck, that you're limited in what you can do and who you can reach and what you can feel and emotionally connect to in this lifetime. All right, I'm going to leave you with that, Aquarius. I know this was a reading that I feel like at times I'm not quite sure the message came through. It was a large channeled message, and I feel like I was a little too small for this large message to come through, but I hope you did get something of something empowering and illuminating out of it. Now, for those of you who have not visited my website, just let you know I have updated it recently, and I am running a special for my 1 hour I Am Illuminated reading that it will be on special for the entire month of April. It'll be 25% off. If you're interested, you can learn more about that in the description box below. But if I don't see you there, Aquarius, I hope you have a wonderfully freeing and illuminating April, and I look forward to reading for you again in May. Bye.